Afternoon, everyone. Softball grandpa, um, rich alcoholic addict. Here with my buddy Hawkeye. Hawkeye, speak. Hawkeye, speak. Come on. And Henry. Henry's over there too. See. Uh, So I remember what I remembered what I was the song I was trying to remember the name of it. It was Rocket Man. Rocket Man by Elton John. I think it's going to be a long, long time. That just I always liked that because that's the story of my life, kind of. You know. And then I was listening on the way home from work today. The Rolling Stones came on Wild Horses. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. And that's the kind of relationship that I always wanted to be in with a woman, and I thought it was with my first wife. But she came home from Monday night bowling on Tuesday morning. And I said, "Where were you?" And she said, "It was none of my business." Well, wild horses drug her away, And then the second wife, with the one with my four kids, uh, you know, I was hurt. I mean, I caused a lot of damage, but I got clean and sober out there, originally down here in the valley in Pasadena in 87. And then I finally got clean. I relapsed a few times. And after 87, we moved out to Moreno Valley. Her parents gave us a down payment on a house. And I relapsed and I got clean and sober out there. And, we weren't going too good, And one of the things is, that really hurt me because I asked her when I got clean and sober in Moreno Valley, and I asked her one day because we were not getting along, typical, and I said, "Are you planning on divorcing me?" And she said no. Found out later that she already had a lawyer, and she was being pushed by her father, which I understand, and that I didn't fight the divorce. It was hard to go through, and it cost me a lot of money, and I was in arrears from day one, but she did what she had to do, and that's the story of that, I have no ill will toward her. I wish her the best and happiness and all that stuff. And one of the things that I remember, my second to youngest daughter, it's going to be her birthday tomorrow. And when I was living at Grandma's house, and I'd pick up the kids every other weekend, and my ex had gotten a boyfriend, and so I was sitting on the back porch one day at my mom's house with the kids, and I had my youngest sitting on my lap, and I said, "Well, what's your mom's new boyfriend like?" "Oh yeah, well, he comes home late and they argue." And I said, "Was he drinking?" And he says, "Yeah, he came home drunk." And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah." And she looked at me and says, "You don't drink no more, Papa, do you?" I will never, ever forget that. The kids are a victim of the divorce, and I was a victim, too, of the drugs and alcohol and addiction, but, to this day, the kids are still paying the price, My first sponsor told me that the way you make amends to your children is by stopping the behavior, so, I'm not sure what the future is going to bring. I'm not looking for a relationship, but if you know anybody with a pension, yeah, send them my way. But anyway, well, she probably should be a little good looking and maybe 10 years younger than me. Well, maybe 10 years older than me. Who knows? Is that selfish? Yeah, it might be selfish. There's another song that I always liked was Spaceman by Harry Nilsson. I just love Harry Nilsson, especially the Son of Smilson album. You know, when the song "You're Breaking My Heart, You're Tearing me Apart," so fuck you. You know, um, but that was, I always got a kick in the butt. But Harry Nelson, he does one is the loneliest number, you know, and then Spaceman. I wanted to be a spaceman. I wanted to go to the moon, but now that I am a spaceman, nobody cares about me. Maybe that's how I feel too, you know. But when I was a little kid, we were driving by an airport one day, and we're on vacation, and I saw a plane taking off. And I said, I want to. I said this out loud. I want to be at an airport when I grow up. Well, heaven knows, I'm not at an airport, but I work at an airport. And I'm not a pilot. I didn't know how to say pilot. And my brothers and sisters, they just laughed. They thought that, I was so stupid. And when you have 5 brothers and sisters, there's always. I was number 4. So my oldest sister, my older brother, me, and then my younger brother and my little sister. But yeah, they thought that was funny. I'll never forget that. I was, that's like one of those moments that just stick in your brain. The moments that you'd never forget. There's some moments that I can't remember. There's a lot of moments I can't remember, but the time that my dad was repairing the TV, and I was probably, I think I call it my first blackout, because there was a moment of time that to this day I cannot recall. I know I got in a lot of trouble. I probably got my ass beat, but I sent my older brother to the hospital. I damn near killed him, with a screwdriver, and it's kind of hard to make amends or even to feel sorry, because I was just doing what I don't know. I don't want to put blame, but it was my fault. I had a choice in the matter, and I decided, well, you got my ball. Well, I wanted my ball back, and so I stabbed him, and that didn't go well with my dad. Probably not my mom either. But he did live, and he had a scar. Every time he looks in the mirror, he probably hates me. Hopefully, I pray for him. And I pray for all my folks. And God, we really do need prayer nowadays. We really do, and because there's just too much hate, and so Thursday I'm going to the neurosurgeon, and I'm kind of looking forward to it, but I'm kind of not looking forward to it too, and then afterwards I'm going to go to Arizona, for the weekend, and who knows, I have to look for another concert to go to. My oldest granddaughter still want to take you to the Eagles, but they're only playing limited cities. We might have to fly to Texas, or we might have to fly to Atlanta. But if they come to the West Coast, then I'm definitely taking you. I'm a man of my word, And I am flying in August to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Living on Tulsa time. Boy, wouldn't that be nice just to live on Tulsa time? Now, speaking of time, I've been talking for 9 minutes, running my mouth, and you know what? God bless everybody, and the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the courage, or the wisdom, I can't even remember that. Let's start that over. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's the end of it. There's other parts of the prayer too, but there's different versions of the prayer too. One's not a good version. I'll try to dig that up somewhere. But that's for a Friday afternoon. Before he goes out on the weekend and get all liquored up, you know. Boy, it's a good thing I don't get liquored up no more, because you imagine me liquored up. And I'm pretty bad when it's straight, you know. But God bless everybody. Do something for somebody else for fun and for free because you want to. And I apologize that this was so long. Love you.